Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming here for this, I hope, first edition of Shipping in the Law. I thank the chairman, the speaker, the panelists, the delegates, the guests, and when I started to work on this, I didn't expect that there would have been such a successful, so much interest in this conference. I thank very much the sponsors, without the generous contribution of whom this conference would not have been possible. The aim for which this conference was designed is to put together the ship owners with the lawyers and other service providers to the shipping industry. The shipping industry is one of the most important for all Europe, in particular for Italy, and in particular for cities like Naples, who have a very strong shipping owning community, or Genoa, who has got also a very strong service community. We would thank our guests coming from all over Europe, from abroad. I think we have got many cities here. I just mentioned Naples and Genoa, but the chairman of the Italian ship owners is from Rome, and we have other important representatives of the shipbuilding, the shipping insurance, the bank industry that come from this important city of Italy. We have got a delegation from Athens, a very important shipping center and civilization center, as all these shipping and harbor cities all are. We have a lot of people coming from London. We have a lot of people coming from France, from Paris in particular. We have people coming from northern countries. So I hope that this conference could become a regular appointment in which we can confront our ideas. Shipping and the law. Law means rules. I think the entrepreneurial activity is based every year more on knowledge. So the knowledge of the rules that should be simple, not always they are, and should be clearly understood by any player on the scenery is essential. We must know what is the best way to organize the business, to make an agreement, and to perform these agreements. The conference is divided in 5 sections. They are on the program. The first section is about European short sea and competition. The second section is about shipbuilding. The third section is about ship finance. The fourth section is called Managing the Risk and is about insurance, liabilities. And the final section is about charters. So our aim is, as my friend Mark Hampshire corrected me last night, to be very brief. The speakers have got slots of 10 minutes, but there will be a prize for the briefest presentation, because the debate is probably the most interesting part of this conference. We must have an exchange of view by between the very distinguished speakers and panelists, and intervention from the public. And in order to achieve this, the conference was initially intended for 2 days and then was squeezed in 1 day. We have to be very brief. After the introduction of the president of the Italian ship owners, Mr. Paolo D'Amico, there will be a keynote speech by Francesco Berlingieri, and then we will start with the first session. Recently, the shipping community has lost two of its oldest members, the ship owners Guido Grimaldi and the ship owner Giuseppe D'Amico. They were in their 90s, and they had a very long and successful life. I had the pleasure and the honor to work with both of them, for both of them. I think they've been working up to very late in their life, and if they were with us, I think they would be happy that people like you is working together and exchanging views about shipping. So I think their memory, even if they just pass away, must be a happy memory, a memory of work, achievements, seriousness. I would like also to recall Patrizia Garbarino, who was a lawyer, personal friend of all of us, who passed away very recently. I think the same notes are valid for her as a lawyer, as a very nice human being, and as a mother. I'll ask then Paolo D'Amico to make his introduction, and I'll pass him the microphone.
Good morning to everybody. Let me first of all thank Mr. Francesco Lauro for the invitation to be here with you. I'm rather excited of this opportunity because in my life is maybe the first time that I come to a meeting for shipping and law, because usually I've always been either technical things or market or finance, but law itself or rules, to be frank, is my first time. I think, and I will take immediately invitation of Mr. Lauro, being as brief as I can in way to save time for the rest of the works, which are by far more important. Let me just say, I think the good rule in shipping is the way to keep shipping competitive. Unfortunately, we are under national rules, international rules, global rules. We have IMO, we have EU, we have God knows how many bodies. This very often interferes with themselves. In chartering, we have to obey to the majors, talking about wet. On the technical side, we have to obey to classification societies. Very often they are in contradiction one with the other one. So, I mean, the grounds for a debate is big, is huge, is even vast. Probably, certainly, we are not going to satisfy that only today. So, and I have to say, unfortunately, being Italian, I have to say that Italy is a champion in ruling things and overruling things. So sometimes we really get mad to try, not to avoid the law, of course, because we can't, but I mean to try to make things easier in way to operate. And for us, sometimes life is very difficult. So at this point, I just pass on the floor to Professor Berlingieri, and I thank you, all of you, and as a chairman of one of the panels later on, I please invite you to be as concrete and short as you can. And please, let's not be academic, because here we have to leave this room with an idea that we did work out something, and just not told us principles, because there are a lot of people talking about principles. Thank you very much.
So I think the subject of Professor Berlingeri lecture towards a wider unification of the law of the sea is just in the line of thought that Mr. D'Amico has pressed right now. Please.